learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then it feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into June 9th, 2021, and the stock market is still squeezing, and I got 3 stacks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow, but today was a very interesting day, especially with how strong we opened, how quickly we sold off, and then we still ended up strong. Surprisingly, the Dow barely closed red. Now, as far as the short squeeze, the meme stock, some of you may not like it, but what you saw today, it was very, very interesting because we even saw that little rally kind of broaden out, which is leading me to think the short squeeze is still continuing. But now, listen, my real investors, my traditional one, and you are still a real investor, even if you got some meme stocks, you know, we got some too, but the hunt for value is still on, and do not forget that we have a very important CPI. You are watching the market do a lot of interesting things, so I really, really like value here as well too, but you are getting an interesting dynamic here, especially as we're at all-time highs, so it's going to be exciting. But we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over what happened in the market today, what we're looking at tomorrow, the plays that we made today, actually made quite a few and got some shares, and then the plays that we have for tomorrow and the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, tomato, tomato. Abivai, Abvi, Nvidia, Nvidia, Palantir, Valantir. It's all the same. It's the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post your WhatsApp below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to chat, baby. So, right off the bat, today was very, very weird. There was a lot that happened, and you could see it with the dynamic. And I even think it slipped beneath the nose of a lot of people. Today was a huge day in many ways. If you saw what a lot of the small caps did in some of those meme stocks, even the tech stocks and how they held up, it was actually pretty insane. And you kind of saw it. Today started off good. It flipped very, very quickly. The meme stocks started to rally while the market was going down, but then they lost some of their steam. The market came back up. Then it all matched up, and then you really just saw the market go from all red to back to all green. So it was very, very crazy in terms of speed. The volume wasn't too high, but if you saw it, we opened up with a lot of people kind of saying, okay, inflation isn't going to be that bad. We're getting ready for the CPI. All of these talks, people got excited. You were really right at all-time highs. You know, we were just hanging out there, and then right at the open, we just sold off quickly, started coming down again. It wasn't too crazy, especially when you see where we were at last week. Again, you were down at 418 or even as low as like, what, 415? And then just 2 weeks ago, we were just hanging out almost at 400. So it's actually showing a little bit more stability than expected, but overall, just how everything moved, and then the fact that you got to really watch the widening. There was a lot of activity on various different levels. Dow leaders flipped and went around. They were going up and down. What you saw with the meme stocks, the chip stocks, and the news we got of more supply chain issues this morning, all of that stuff. But today was a really, really big day when you even just look at some of the numbers or some of the individual moves and how a lot of things have ended up holding up. So there wasn't really any crazy news. There was really those budget breakdowns talking about that. You know, we still haven't got an idea of that, and that would probably contribute to inflation too once we get those numbers, or that can affect future guidance. But so far, we have not gotten any other updates on that. And then as far as news, even coming into tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised to kind of see how we played out today unless something else happens. There has been little pieces of news, kind of like that Bitcoin DOJ stuff and recovering the Bitcoin from the colonial hack, all that. There's these little pieces of news affecting things here and there, but until we get the CPI on Thursday, we're really not going to have anything. So I am kind of looking for tomorrow to play out like today, maybe a little bit more remix. Now, as far as how the markets are holding up, and we've been talking about this, a lot of people were saying, you know, wait, why aren't we going through highs? Again, we started off very, very good. I brought this up a few times in other videos. We talked about this on stream, but the stocks do not need to break highs. It's not like they have to when they hang up here, and that's why Thursday and then next week with the Fed is going to be so important, because those are the types of events that could really take you to the next level. So even in that same breath, A lot of people now are giving their suggestions with CPI. I'm telling you what I'm expecting and all of that. And this is the key to understand really economically. And if you want to view it very analytically, nobody knows. And pretty much a lot of people have these ideas, but myself included, we will not know who is right for at least another 3 months. So even when that CPI comes out on Thursday, that could be a catalyst that could move us into other levels. But again, the real ultimate effect, until you get that budget and until we kind of see more data sets, you will really not know the true story of inflation. So some people are calling for a growth rotation now. Some people are even saying inflation is overshot. And like we said today, the view that inflation is not transitory is actually a contrarian view. Most economists right now and most analysts in the market, they actually believe that it is going to be transitory and that we are not going to see these high price pressures really stay here. So keep that in mind, especially as we get into these important events, because you'll see how that plays out tomorrow. But now also setting up your strategy, and you've been seeing how we've been playing a lot of shares, you're seeing the options, but keep these events in mind and understand what could move the market so you could position or at least not get disappointed if you have too high of expectations. So bringing all of this into tomorrow and the rest of the week, inflation and CPI, that's really what we want to eye here. And again, I'm going to be looking at the market to pretty much make a move after getting that confirmation. But now I would watch oil and commodities here. Remember, you have inflation indicators. Bitcoin has been getting clapped a little bit, but you could still watch the commodities, and now especially oil that hit $70 today. So however that plays out, remember that theory I told you from a couple days ago, we might see that come into play, and that might be able to show us something. But if that starts to play out on the dollar, all those currencies, none of those factors have moved. Even though the bonds were a little bit good today, the yields were actually lower today than they have been in the last 3 months. So opposite to the theory of rates going up. However, the dollar, currency, now even the commodities, they are all at those key multi-year levels. So tomorrow is going to be watching the momentum. We need to see if the meme stocks stay up and how that affects the global market. Watch for any budget news and see if any of that information might move the markets. Otherwise, it is all eyes on the CPI, and then you got the commodities and oil to show the way. So I hope you're ready, baby. But that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 4 different stocks that I'm looking at. We made a couple of plays today, but I am keeping my eye on the meme stocks. I added one, but it has a little bit of a different logic. That's the first play we'll go over. But overall, I still like value plays. And even then, there is going to be an opportunity to watch some other stocks. So I did also make a play on Biogen. And that's what I'm saying here. There is a lot of hype, but there's pretty much opportunity everywhere as we are getting into some of these catalysts and how the market is moving. But as far as the first play, I went with one of these LiDARs. I got VLDR, Volanter. That's not what it's called, but that's what I call it. Shout out to the cult, baby. But I decided to buy 1,000 shares of the stock. I wanted this stock a lot higher price. So at the beginning of the year, a lot of you guys kept bringing up some of these names, and you were like, hey, Josh, check some of these out. And I was kind of interested again, a lot of the EV waves and everything. I was like, I would consider them at a lower price. And I remember seeing this thing in the high 20s. I wanted this. I was like, okay, maybe this one could be decent, but then didn't look at it since. Everything kind of sold off. Our value stocks did the work, all that. That was bugging me. But overall, we got this. I think I bought 1,000 shares at like 11.30. So we're pretty much at the bottom of the chart in the quarter. I don't know how that looks on the year, but pretty much it was a SPAC. So we did get it essentially at the bottom. But the reason why I like this now is because it gives you some of that meme stock ability where you could get the hype, but it is also related now to the whole, I don't know if they're relating it to EV, but just LiDAR in general has been kind of one of those future technology. It's honestly a story. So I like the price. I was going to pay a lot more for it, so I decided to go with it, grab the 1,000 shares. This is probably going to be a swing trade. Again, I like where it's at. Again, I think we got a good price. We even made 10% on it because we got it early. So got to do just above 10%. It's moving up after hours. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. And I got a lot of shares, so if it does go crazy, if I either make free shares, but you've seen what we've been doing with the covered calls. So that was the first play. I did also grab some of the July options. And 1, I just like the play in general, but now 2, I think it'll give us an opportunity to kind of see how things will play out. So I grabbed 10 of the July 20 calls. I paid 19 cents. I think they closed up like 100% or so. Oh, look at UMC take the lead when I adjust the P&L, but it was about 136%. Still holding. I could have made them free, but now I kind of just want to see how it plays out. You can see what a $2,000 investment is going to look like on VLDR versus an $11,000 investment with the shares. So let's see what's about to happen next, okay? But that is going to be the first play. I want to watch them. We'll see if it gets hype again. A lot of the broadening in the small caps, it really held up. We even talked about about Clover yesterday. We'll go over that, but if that continues tomorrow, you see how the market sentiment is shifting. But again, don't forget some of the value. But that was the first play. As far as the second play, Biogen, and I actually really like this one. And what I mean by that is that I'm pretty much going to be willing to take some of these smaller gambles in this next week or so. So as long as I'm keeping it small and it has all this momentum and news, it has a wide range. It's moved a lot, but if I could get these cheap $50, $60 plays, I did spend $70. I'm okay with burning maybe like 100, 150 going after weeklies, but I'm going to pretty much wait till they decay. So I did decide to grab a Biogen. I got a 480. Remember, it hit 460 yesterday. So I was like, all right, I'll take it on a weekly. Bought this for $70. Again, you'll see by tomorrow if this is a weekly. So if that is nowhere close to it, it is nowhere close to it now. This will decay quickly. So keep that in mind because that's how I want to look at these over the week. So keep your eyes on them. I think it's a pretty decent play. I'm going to be watching that throughout the week. That's the second play. The third play, Clover. So we still have the shares. The move was there. This was like the number one stock today. People were going crazy. Again, it still held up 78% and the move was there. But thankfully, unthankfully, because again, we'll see how it holds up tomorrow, but there was no options on the chain. They ended up adding the weeklies during the middle of the day, but then now there wasn't any other further options. So I wanted to do the covered call, but I was like, well, I could get like 40%. At one point, it was offering 90% or 80% of my initial investment when this stock was like $3 away from the strike I would have sold. So I said, well, I'd rather wait, get higher premium, and be able to sell a further out the money strike. So I'm still holding that, but a lot of momentum and crazy volume. And then that is the next key for the last play. But Wish, I think this was maybe the second popular. There's Wish, Wendy's, and Clover today. Again, it has just broadened out with all these hype stocks, but Wish, this is a hype winner, and the only thing I like about it is the volume. Again, this IPO'd, and maybe that could be some of the benefits to it, that it is an IPO play, and it had a normal IPO. It wasn't like a direct listing or a SPAC, so you got that big sell-off, so maybe it's kind of at this low level, but then if you come see them on the chart, this volume is actually insane. Like, more people were trading. I even want to know the dollar amount, but this is like bigger than their IPO, so the fact that it's holding up 75%, and this is what I said yesterday, the fact these stocks are holding these crazy levels is actually unreal. So that is showing you something coming into it all, but gonna be watching this one, and now thankfully we already have shares, but I'm down 50%, LOL. This gives you a real reality to kind of how you're seeing us play, because we've been in the mix of a lot of these, shout out even UWMC, that one's coming back. You guys have seen the Clover, you've seen the AMC, but where's Wish? We have a strategy, I budget, and this is why I'm not putting more than I'm willing to lose, or an amount that if it drops, I'm not selling out. Again, I'm playing time in the market instead of timing the market. So in this case, I timed this one awful, but as you see, it comes back around. Even after today's move, I'm still down 41%, $900. Again, total position was what? $2,300 in general, but this is where you guys are seeing a lot of these plays. We've keeping it small. We're using the shares. It's not options that are expiring, but it could still do some work for you and then open other avenues like the covered calls and all of that. So keep that in mind and understand you don't need to really move as fast. Remember, they move fast, you move slow, but I definitely want to see how this plays out tomorrow. I think it is going to be very interesting, and like I said, this volume was unreal, and if we see all this hold up, that is going to be key. But those are going to be the main plays. As far as everything else, Wendy's is another runner-up. They have been getting talked about a lot. They had killer earnings, and then everybody on CNBC loved this, and the options were crazy. I wanted some in the morning. You could see my canceled play because I was like, it's even too much. I was trying to get the April 22nd. This is a yearly. I put $1.50 for 5 of them. These contracts closed at $6, and it was already at a premium. It was insane how it moved off of the open. So it keeps going up, but this is also, I don't know if it's a CNBC or a Wall Street bet stock. Y'all could argue that, and I have not gotten a Baconator today. I still need to go get one. That is not an advertisement or paid promotion. Option trade cylinders again, lose on my finance, lose on finance, rise occasional purpose, only thing every day. But keep your eye on them. That's definitely going to come up in the conversation. UWMC, we are now above it on a majority of our shares. We are in a gain after holding this, and I'm pretty sure we're on like our second or third dividend so far. So this is a very, very good look for the stock. I really want to see if this one gets hyped, but if it does break out, this could change it, and just see if the SPAC curse is broken. Again, that's the same thing even with Clover and as well as this LiDAR play that I made, because these were all SPACs. Now you're seeing some of them do good. Again, Clover was a SPAC and it came back. If it kind of breaks that SPAC curse, we've seen it since the beginning of 2021, this might be a good look. So even then, UWMC, I just love the trend that it's in, because if you haven't noticed, it is a lot different than any of the other spike ups. These all lasted for literally one day and then came out here. We have been on now, what, a 3-week, almost a month run up at this point, 2 more days. So the 30-day and start to this quarter, this is getting really, really different. And at the end of the day, if rates start to level out, that actually is going to benefit UWMC. So I really like them, and I even like Archite as well too. If any of these get hype and momentum, this could say a lot, but keep your eye on for them. Those made big moves. Boeing, I really like today. They had delivery numbers, but this was the Dow component. They were leading when the Dow was down, then they flip-flopped, but it had a lot of moves. They had delivery numbers and some other things today. Surprising how it moved, and it is at a key level, I would say. You know, this is getting interesting for Boeing because now it's back at this level, but it didn't do it so quickly. So I want to see kind of how it levels out and then how it pretty much sets us up for the next quarter. But keep your eye on Boeing. They're going to be good. Ride. This is the Lordstown SPAC, and now they're not really doing the best. They had bad SPAC news. They fell off. The puts were really, really expensive. Again, just watch the break even of the put if you want to go for some of those far out the monies, because a lot of people overlook this. A put, actually, whether you buy an option or not, it has a maximum gain. If you buy a call, it is theoretically unlimited because it could go to the moon. It could go anywhere. But if you buy a put, the maximum you can make is if the stock goes to zero. So take the strike price. If that goes to zero per 100 contracts, that's the most you can make, assuming the stock goes down. That's why some of the more crazier far out the money puts, they don't really make sense because you're going to be spending 30, 40 cents, 10% on like a $3 put, but like your max gain on that contract is $300, assuming the stock goes to zero. But keep that in mind. Again, you actually saw some stocks get clapped. Again, Clover, they absolutely killed it, still holding. Wish was nuts. Workhorse as well. Workhorse, AMC, and this is where you see it. They all moved today, but these were like the main leaders in all of it. There was like GME, AMC, but they still did good and held up. Again, AMC, and please make sure you vote and you don't want dilution. But overall, you saw this. Again, I'm still holding those Workhorse calls. I'm going to keep my eye on these. Some of these are kind of the main plays, but if you see it broaden out tomorrow, it might turn into a free-for-all, so we'll see. Watch them. Watch Ford and also Intel as well too, but Ford reiterated some of the chip concerns today, and then we even went over some stuff with the chip makers today. Taiwan went into some COVID lockdowns again, and this might hurt some of the supply chains, but I really want to watch chip makers. Again, we brought Intel. I think they've moved very interesting, and I think they're going to play out really key here, so keep your eye out for them. Watch Uber. They had news of their union plans getting canceled. They dropped a lot, but it's been having a lot of these random downsides. You could kind of see how the chart has been playing out, so want to keep my eye on Uber. I like where they're at, but I really think it is a make it or break it moment. Could really go any direction, so keep your eye out for them. And then Biogen, going to be slow and steady, but they have the good news. I want to watch how that plays, and I think it's just going to be one to gamble on because I want to play it cheap. I don't want to play it expensive, but those are the main plays. And then finally, baby, to TLT. It shot up a ton today. I was actually surprised. I think you could even see it just like UMC. I mean, it kind of looks like UMC in the real estate stocks. This is a different trend. Again, this is very, very unique, I would say. That's why I think this next few days will be key, because it's not like it's just spiking up and coming back down. You're kind of building a trend here. So we've seen it like this, but it wasn't really too vertical. So this is going to get really, really interesting. But now the one thing I'm really, really looking at here is going to be the dollar. Dollar is still hanging out at that point. It came up a little bit here. So if those bond yields kind of come lower, the dollar might have to come up with it, but we will see what happens. But don't forget the importance of the commodities here. And if it does start to move, this may be a sign of volatility, or it may be highlighting what the market and most people are really thinking right now with rates. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, not everybody gets to fight Goliath. Don't get disappointed. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.